Welcome to Let's Get Social. And in part two, with our wonderful guest, Madalyn Sklar, we're continuing on our deep dive into Twitter. We're going to talk about the power of Twitter chats and how your business can maybe connect with some influencers and so much more. So stay tuned.
Well, happy Friday again, Mr. T and Madalyn. Thank you. It's great to see you for part two. And just to kind of get you thinking about, and I don't know if Twitter, embraces this, but there's a great website called Days of the Year, and we always like to find something quirky because Mr. T does like to be quirky. And today is National Tortilla Day. So
here you go, Madalyn.
There you go.
Tortilla chips.
Didn't know that.
So any words of wisdom, Mr. T, or tortillas?
I love nachos. Everyone I'm sure you like nachos, don't you, Madalyn?
Well, I live in Texas, so
sure, of course.
Nachos, tortillas, it's a big thing here for sure.
Yeah, we love
any tips? What's coming down the track? Maybe is there anything trending on Twitter regarding tortillas and nachos? Any recipes you came across?
Well, certainly, like what I do at home, and my son in particular loves this, is some salsa, a bit of guacamole. Layer up the nachos with
I'm getting hungry.
Guacamole. I've done it with, say, fajita chicken and bacon, and layer that up, and then put the cheese in the oven. It's about 4,000 calories, but hey, once you don't mind,
get on your bike.
Once you don't mind, it's the way to go. But listen, if you missed our first show with Madalyn Sklar, definitely check it out on the Let's Get Social Show podcast. On iTunes, Spotify, and Dublin South FM. And if you don't know who Madalyn is one of the world's leading Twitter experts. She has been doing Twitter since it practically started and has so many insights and tips that is really going to help your business. So we're delighted to have her back for a second show.
Yes, so do go check it out for part one. And of course, this show as well. Head over to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Podbeam, and the Dublin South FM website. And as Philip, as you would say, if video is your thing,
check us out on the Let's Get Social Show YouTube channel. You can watch us as well as, comment, let us know if you like what we are doing, and any suggestions for future content, let us know.
Yeah. And we can go to email that's inquiries with an E at dublinsouthfm.ie. So we'd be delighted to turn whatever you're commenting, emailing, let us know, and we'll turn it into a show. I'm a poet and I didn't know it, Philip.
I tell you, Madalyn, I am blessed to have a co-host with so many talents. It is quite
okay. The check's in the post.
But listen, let's move on from nachos and all those lovely things. Madalyn, you have been running an extremely effective, famous Twitter chat called Twitter Smarter, #Twitter Smarter, every Thursday. For businesses who either don't know what a Twitter chat is and the power of a Twitter chat that can help businesses based on your experience, can you tell our listeners as to what it is and why they should get involved?
Absolutely. Twitter chats are a powerful way to bring like-minded people together. I think that's the easiest way to kind of define what it is. And it's so simple. It's just taking a hashtag. So in my case, it's the hashtag Twitter Smarter, all together, no spaces. And I tell everybody, okay, every Thursday, 1:00 Eastern, go to Twitter, easiest way, twitter.com, put in the hashtag #Twitter Smarter, and you're going to see this conversation unfold over the course of an hour. And it is an interesting way to bring people together. Twitter chats have been around for a very, very long time on Twitter. And I started hosting them back in, I think it was 2011 when I hosted my first Twitter chat. And I've been doing them every week ever since that time, because I just saw how powerful it was to bring these like-minded people together. So my very first Twitter chat was when I was in the music industry, and I ran a website for female musicians, indie female artists, the ones you should hear on the radio, but you don't, that aren't really famous. And there's just millions and millions of amazing musicians out in the world. And I created a community specifically for female musicians. And I I wanted to do a Twitter chat to bring them together. And so it was always just these like-minded musicians. Let's talk about things that are important to us. And that's what we did in this Twitter chat every week. And I was just blown away at the fact that I could take an existing community I already had and use the Twitter chat to strengthen it. But on the flip side, I was also able to bring people over I didn't already know to be a part of the community. So it can be really great for strengthening a community you already have and using it as a way to bring them together, but then also use it as a way to build a new community. Because so many times you get a new business owner and they don't have an audience, they don't have a community around them and their business yet. So a Twitter chat can be a very powerful way. And it's just a matter of picking a hashtag that's not really being used because you can't own a hashtag. You can't say, I own this, I trademarked it, doesn't work like that. So the best thing to do is research, find a hashtag that's not being used actively. It's okay if it's being used every once in a while, but not a hashtag that's used every single day, because then it would be confusing to people. So I did a bunch of research, and I like my hashtags to really say what it is. So with Twitter Smarter, I was just trying to think like, what could a hashtag be that really makes sense so people understand I want to help them use Twitter better. And actually, initially, it was Twitter Rockstar, because I thought they just sounded cool. I want to make you a Twitter rockstar.
It does sound cool.
And I did some research, and people were using it, somewhat, not super regularly. And I thought, well, let me so I played with it a little bit, but then I was like, you know what? I want to find a hashtag no one's using. And I somehow came up with Twitter Smarter. And I felt like that really says, like, I want to make you smarter on Twitter.
Yeah.
So Twitter Smarter.
Yeah.
No one was using it at all. It was like,
interesting.
Did the search, nothing. So I thought, you know what? I want to just start with one that has not been used by anybody, and let me see what I could build with it. And so I ended up using that hashtag to just brand a part of what I was building as a brand, which was I want to help people use Twitter better. So I used the hashtag for an online course on Twitter called the Twitter Smarter Masterclass, a Twitter Smarter podcast, and the Twitter Smarter Twitter chat. So I've used it just for a variety of things, but it was that Twitter chat that just exploded because just telling people, hey, come. And I didn't know if anybody would show up, but one day in 2015, I just put out there, I said, I'm going to start this Twitter chat to help build this new community where I'm just helping people. So I just put it out there. All right, whoever wants to join me this Thursday, 1:00 Eastern, I'll be here at this hashtag. And I couldn't believe how many people showed up. Amazing. And every week, more and more people. So I built. And
you just tweeted that out, Madalyn. Was it to say, listen, was it on Twitter, or did you use multiple channels, or was it just Twitter?
Twitter.com. And it was, back then it was 140 character tweets. So it was very short tweets.
Yeah.
But it was a neat way to connect with people. And then when we look today at 2023, I still think Twitter chats are very valuable.
Yep.
But Twitter Spaces, I have found that Twitter Spaces is just as great as a Twitter chat for building community and getting your message and showing your authority and your knowledge. That Twitter chats and Twitter Spaces are both so good for that. So it's to build community and or strengthen one you already have and to showcase your knowledge.
Yeah.
So do you feel that that's a great angle then for people that are out there and they're, as you say, they're not really building traction yet, that to go to, say, using the hashtag Twitter Smarter when it's on, and maybe in spaces as well, is to connect and maybe engage with maybe influencers like yourself, who can maybe help benefit that business, because we all need a little helping hand sometimes. And what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that's a good strategy then for somebody out there?
To come over to the Twitter Smarter chat?
Yeah, or any of the other chats like you're saying. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. If somebody is in business, they want to learn how to use Twitter better, the chat, like I host Twitter Smarter, would be a great place to just get knowledge and learn. But then also, and I'm just using this chat as an example, also let's say, well, you're a new business, you're just trying to connect with other business people, or maybe you're a marketer, you want to connect with other marketers. Those are the people that come to this chat. So you want to kind of do some research to see where are the chats with people that you like. Think back first. Who do you want to be in front of? Who are the people? Do you want to be in front of entrepreneurs? Do you want to be in front of marketers? Do you want to be in front of like whatever? And then find where they are.
Yeah.
And Twitter chat can be a place.
And use whatever and see what hashtags they're using.
Right. See what hashtags they're using. You can even just start with doing some Google searches and see, you could let's say, like for me, of course, I'm in social media and marketing. So I would type in, social media Twitter chats to see what comes up and just do a simple Google search. And many times you go onto Twitter and one place will lead you to another and will lead you to another. And many times it's just word of mouth or just doing some searches right inside of Twitter. But yeah, if you're trying to connect with a certain group of people, see if they're in Twitter chats, but also because Twitter Spaces is so popular now, I feel like Twitter Spaces is just so much like a Twitter chat, but instead of typing, which is a Twitter chat because you're just tweeting, is with Spaces is the audio is talking. It's like a live podcast, right? Like I mentioned before.
Yeah.
So what a great way to connect with people. And I've seen so many people come to my Twitter chat and now in the last 2 years come to my Twitter Spaces. And I see people come together and connect with each other and then go off and work together or start their own. I've seen people come to my Twitter chat and then go start their own chat, like two people who didn't know each other. I would watch them kind of build a relationship through the chat. And then all of a sudden, you know what, we're going to launch this, we're inspired by Twitter Smarter and we're going to start our own chat. And it's not like related to it. Like I've seen people have chats have nothing to do with Twitter or marketing or social media, but the fact that they came and they learned from it and met amazing people and decided to go off and do something. And I think that's, to me, why Twitter is so powerful, because it's not just a place for me to say, hey, come sign up for my course. Hey, listen to my podcast, go to my YouTube channel. It's let me build relationships with people. And when I think back into my early days of entrepreneurship, one of the early things we learned in like sales and marketing, especially like sales 101 is people buy from people they know, like, and trust. So if you're on social media and you're getting to know people, they get to like you, they trust you, then they're more inclined to buy from you. So instead of pushing, buy my stuff, is show them who you are and how great you are and build relationships. And then all of that other stuff will follow.
Yeah.
And then they can hear what you sound like and what you look like.
Exactly.
And then you can
which makes it even more powerful, because people just aren't utilizing video on Twitter. Many times when you look at my Twitter feed and you see stuff I'm doing, many times, even though I'm doing it because, well, this is good for me and my brand, but also I want people to see that they could do this too. So I love the power of video on Twitter. We've talked about that already in part one of this. One of the things I've been doing with my Twitter Smarter chat more recently to showcase the power of video in a simple tweet is, with the Twitter Smarter chat, we always bring on a guest each week to talk about whatever the topic's going to be. Most times it's related to Twitter marketing. Sometimes we venture into some other things. We're going to be doing AI pretty soon and just, something that's still in the big picture, mostly Twitter marketing, but in the big picture, something that the audience would like to learn about. And what I started doing recently is about a day or two before the chat, I make a little video on my phone, nothing fancy, as a way to introduce the guest. So even though I always tweet an introduction of the guest, I want to actually say it. I actually want to take 30 seconds, me looking at my phone and just saying, hey, welcome to the Twitter Smarter Chat. Our guest this week is Eimer Duffy. And let me tell you about her, why I'm so excited to have her here. And just this short, quick, nothing fancy, recording it on my phone. And I do it on my iPhone. Let's face it, our mobile phones have amazing cameras. Why not do it? Why not make it easy? But it's so easy for me to make it on my phone. And then I get it. I have a little app on my phone that will transcribe it. So it shows the captions, which we all know is important these days on social media. But, it turns out studies show that most people have the audio off, maybe because they're in a work environment, they can't have it, or they're on a train or they're somewhere and they just can't have it. So let them read what you're saying. But I've gotten amazing response from these little videos that take me like a couple of minutes to do as a way to showcase the guest even more, put even a bigger spotlight on them, but also at the same time trying to show everybody, hey, you can make little videos. They're so easy. It's not time consuming. And what a great way for people to see you even more than your profile picture. Because when you look at your profile picture, while that's
one-dimensional.
a little piece of us,
Yeah.
to actually see the person and see more of them. You know, my bio on my profile says, you know, tattoo wearing social media evangelist, but people look at my profile picture and go, huh, really? She does? She has all these tattoos? But then I make my little videos and you're like, oh yeah, you know, I got all these tattoos on my arms. And it's like, oh, okay. Wow. She's really cool. She really is a tattoo wearing social media evangelist.
Yeah,
So it's just a way to show more of who you are.
Yeah.
And let's face it, when we can see somebody, it makes a big difference.
We connect, I think, better. Yeah, exactly.
We do.
Yeah, we all, you know, and it gives you that kind of vibe that, do I want to work with that person? Do I want to connect with that person? And do I want to listen to their social media jokes? Probably not.
Well, you didn't, Emer. I know Madalyn was thrilled to come on to hear those jokes, but they've been, I've been fired from that particular job. So,
oh, maybe we'll bring them back.
Wait, bring them back. I'm sure you've heard of this sort of little saying, Madalyn, to measure is to know. And like analytics on platform analytics are always something like, yes, it's always good to look at your Google analytics, but Twitter has some great analytics that I think a lot of businesses sometimes just kind of bypass or don't even look at. And like, what are your kind of, when you're looking at analytics, what are some of the key ones that businesses should be taking note of when it looks at their Twitter analytics? Yeah,
the analytics are important to look at. It's important to know, like, what is your Twitter? I mean, we can sit here and tweet all day and think, oh, I'm doing great. I got all these followers and my notifications are full of people responding to me. But you really should look at those numbers to see, because it'll tell you so much more. And I've realized in talking to people, not everybody knows how to access this. So when you're on Twitter on desktop, is really simple. I mean, there's an easy way to just do it real quickly, analytics.twitter.com. That will get you right there. But when you're on your Twitter profile, your navigation on the left side, you'll click on more. And then they changed it around recently. There's now this thing called Creator Studio, and you'll see your analytics listed there. They've moved it around so many times over the years, I can't even tell you. But when you first get on there, it gives you a 28-day summary. And what I love about this, it will show you that in the last 28 days, how many tweets, your tweet impressions, which really just means how many people could have seen your tweets in that period of time. Doesn't mean they clicked on it, doesn't mean, but it just showed up in the feed. And then it'll show you profile visits. And I think this is one that's super important because it lets you know in the course of the last 28 days, how many people went to your profile because of your tweets. Because, you know, you see it in the feed and then somebody actually goes to your profile. That's it really, I think, people are not realizing how much traffic they're actually bringing to the profile from the feed. And that's when I tell everybody, make sure your profile is awesome. Make sure your bio is as great as it can be. Make sure your profile picture represents who you are. If you're your own brand, like myself, Madalyn Sklar, if my profile picture is a picture of me from far away, people can be like squinting and go, I can't even tell what she looks like. I always tell people, when you're your own personal brand, or you have your own profile with your name on it, even if it's separate from your business, make sure people can recognize you from that photo. You should be able to go to a conference or an event in person, and people should be able to recognize you when you walk in. And that has always worked for me, because in the early days of MySpace, I felt like MySpace is where a lot of us marketers really started understanding how social media could work and how we can make it work for ourselves. And I realized when I started playing around with my profile picture and making sure it's cropped so you could really see who I was, from that moment on, and we're talking, this had to have been like, you know, mid to later 2000s. I started, I think, using MySpace in 2005. So probably within the next few years, every time I went anywhere in person, to an event, to a conference, people go, oh, you're Madalyn, we're MySpace friends. And then as Facebook started,
so they recognized,
Twitter, as all these different social media platforms, same thing over the years. Oh, we're let me tell you, not that long ago, I would say probably within a year or two, I was walking down my street where I live, walking my dog, and this guy kind of looked at me. He was walking towards me. He looked at me funny, and then he stopped me. This is the most random thing. I've been stopped all over with people recognizing me from this guy goes, "Oh, you're Madalyn." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Who is it? Am I on like some kind of hidden camera show?" Because it was like a quiet street.
Yeah.
Me walking, he knew me from Twitter. He
Wow.
recognized me from
Amazing.
Twitter and was like, "You live over here?" I'm like, "Yeah." And it was just, I was shocked, like to just on a random quiet street in my neighborhood. But that's the power of social media. I've been stopped on the streets of New York City with that happening. I mean, I've been all over where people like, they recognize me because of the profile pic, because it matches too. A lot of people like to have
I'm actually just
like
I have brought yours up. No one's going to see this probably, but anyway, I love your banner. It's so cool. It's like bullet points and it's just straight to the point.
Yes. And yes, because that's the header image at the top, and that's like a big banner where you can use that to, because let's face it, our bio, we have 160 characters and it's so hard to express.
Do you think they'll ever expand? Do you think they'll ever expand on that?
I don't know, but what I do is I utilize that header image. So I have some bullet points, and I have a picture where you can see more of me, and I hold my Twitter Smarter sign because Twitter Smarter is a big part of my brand. And then you want to have a bio that gives people intrigued and interested. And then, because people look at the top and work their way down, the next thing is that pinned tweet, which I turn into a thread so I can say even more, because that pinned tweet will always stay at the top. Mm-hmm. So the point is, have a great profile, because that's what's so important here, because you want people to be able to really understand
straight off the bat,
why you're on Twitter, what is this about, and how can I get more information. So that's why when you're in your analytics, look at those profile visits. Now, the more active you are on Twitter, you'll see those profile visits rise, but just remember, profile visits means they looked at that profile. Is it as great as it can be? So one of the spaces that I host every week is to help people make their Twitter profiles better. It was an idea I had.
That's actually a really good one, actually.
Yes. It's all every Saturday at 1:00 Eastern, and it's called Twitter Profile Reviews. And I've been hosting it for the last 2 years, and I have several other co-hosts with me. And what we do is for 1 hour, and this is every Saturday, and they are recorded so that if people miss it live, they can listen to the replay. We review usually 2 profiles in real time. And I didn't know if this would work with audio only, because I feel like it's visual. We're looking at a profile.
But that actually then gets people to go and have a look. Everyone will start to. So you're driving people to look at the bio and the profile.
They're looking at the bio, and many times they're following the person now. And we're just having this discussion of, let's look at your profile picture. Let's look at your header. Let's look at your bio. What can you do to make it better? Many times, you just need to hear what other people think, because we always think, I know what to put in my bio. I know what profile. But many times we're not putting the best thing that could be there. And when you look at my header image at the top, you're saying you liked it, right? So I did this as an experiment in that space about a year and a half ago. I had gotten some new photos, some professional photos done. And I sent them to my graphic designer. I said, I want to get a new header image for my Twitter. And so she came up with 3 different variations of it, like 3 different ones. They're all pretty similar, but a little different. What I initially did is took the one I liked the most and put it in my header. And then the following week, for our Saturday space, I thought, you know what? Why don't I do a poll and let me ask this brand new community that I've been building from nothing into this new community of people that from all over the world that just want to learn how to make their Twitter profile better. And interesting enough, overwhelmingly, people picked a profile, a header image that I did not put up myself. And it's the one you see now. So the one you see on my profile, that was not my first choice. But how could I not listen to my community who overwhelmingly said, out of the 3, Madalyn, this is the best one.
And sure, that's what you want. You want people to be honest with
you. Exactly. So I always say 2 heads are better than 1. Get opinions.
Or 3 headers are always better than 1.
Exactly. Get opinions from others and see, because we may think we know what's best, but it's not about us. It's about everybody else, and how can we attract them and get them interested and want to know us and like us and trust us through this little platform called Twitter.
Well, that was one of the things I learned from you, Madalyn, about the header photo, was that this is real estate. It gives people a real snapshot as to what your account is about. And, if you're focusing on your ideal Twitter follower, potential customer, or whatever, and you're answering a pain point or something in that Twitter header, it'll be aligned with what they're looking for. And it becomes almost like, yes, I will follow this person, where you see so many headers where it's like landscape photos are there. It's nothing. And you're kind of wondering really what is this about?
Or it's a grey wall.
Right. A grey wall. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking of trying to update your bio and stuff, is there any other updates coming that you have heard, whispers of regarding Twitter? Or I know you're not a fan of Mr. Elon Musk. Well, we won't say that too loud, but of what's changed over the last year and what you think is coming down the track, do you think Twitter is evolving, at a good speed, or do you think it's kind of, waiting to see what people are kind of in line, aligned with, as you say, spaces and, maybe the odd audio tweet? Do you think the features that are, being provided are on the right track, so to speak?
They have been on the right track, because many of us for years have been asking for an edit button. And then we got it once Elon came on board. But he's trying to be really smart with monetizing Twitter better. So you have to be a Twitter Blue subscriber, which I think is not a bad idea. I mean, I'm all for giving everybody a bunch of features. I know most people don't want to have to pay. There's different ways he could be doing this, but he's trying to come up with ways to get people to subscribe. Some people look at it as, well, I want to pay for the blue check mark. I think it's ridiculous. You pay to have that ability to edit, to be able to do more of these longer tweets now. You can also have higher resolution videos and have longer videos when you're with Twitter Blue. It used to be if you don't have Twitter Blue, the way it works is when you do put a video on Twitter, it can only be up to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. But when you're a Twitter Blue subscriber, they have this new thing now where Elon's saying you can have up to 60 minutes. I think he wants to compete with YouTube. I think that's a little too much. Wow. But you can have longer videos as a Twitter Blue subscriber. The thing is, since Elon Musk took over, there's been a lot of volatility inside of Twitter. All of a sudden new features come in and other features go away. Twitter Moments was one of my favorite features, and it went away. Elon was trying to kind of trim the fat, I guess, and trying to make less work since there's less engineers. And so many of us were not happy. He took that away, but then they gave us the edit, and it's kind of like a give and take. Is what it seems to be.
Do you miss Fleets? Do you remember?
I love Fleets. I really wish they'd kept Fleets, but that was before Elon. That was something they did.
I know.
Before, and then they took it away. They claimed that people weren't using it. That's not true. I knew lots of people using it, and it actually kept me on Twitter more and on Instagram less. I think it was a disservice to get rid of it, because so many of us like using Instagram stories, but who wants to? I think each one of these platforms' goal is to keep you there and not leave, right? Yeah. That's what they want you to do. And I hated leaving Twitter to go to Instagram, but I wanted to go look at people's stories and I want to do my own stories. But then once we could do Fleets, it's like, I don't have to leave it. I wasn't hardly going to Instagram anymore. I was just using Twitter to see other people.
I wonder was Twitter doing that because we don't want to be like Instagram. We're just going to get rid of this now. But I think
we're the number one original social media platform.
Yeah. I know. I agree with you. But I was thinking, along the top, it is handy, especially if you want to highlight something.
Right.
But might bring it back. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe.
I'm looking at the clock. I'm going to try and squeeze one more question in. If I
go on.
Well, let me mention one quick thing back to the analytics, because I really did not go into too much detail about. But I think it's important to look at your analytics. But one thing that's really cool that I don't think everybody realizes, when you're just in your Twitter feed, you can actually get individual stats on each tweet, because at the bottom of each, and this is same whether you're on mobile or desktop, underneath each one of your tweets, you'll see this little icon. It looks like a bar chart, and it says view, and you tap on it, and it's going to show you impressions, engagement, profile visits, if you even got new followers because of that tweet. So it's like this little snapshot with each tweet, whereas when you go to your big page of analytics, it's more like you step back and you see a broader view of everything. But when you want to see those individual, but then also when you are in your Twitter analytics, or you're actually on the page with your Twitter analytics, another thing real quick I want to mention is, if you're wondering, well, what are my most popular tweets? When you go there at the top, in the navigation will say tweets, and there's a way to get to your top tweets, and you can look in here and see like which tweets had the most impression, the most engagement, and it defaults to this past 28 days, but you can adjust it to be like, what was it just for the last month, or what was it for the past week? Like you do get a little bit of flexibility. It won't do like the past year. I think you can go back maybe 3 months, but this is just a great way to just get a look at the overall picture of how your Twitter is doing. What is the health of your Twitter account? What, is this working? And they even have a section in there where you can see how your Twitter videos are doing. They actually have a way to see you got the tweets, top tweets. There's also a place to see your videos, tweets.
And views.
How are your videos doing, Philip?
Moving on.
Oh, we go there.
Let's not go there. Listen, I'm going to squeeze this in. I know our editor is probably going to kill me, but I don't care. It's not after we have you on, Madalyn, so I'm going to squeeze this question in. If businesses go on to their Twitter, I'm just talking about the desktop now, and under the section professional tools, there is a Twitter for professionals, as in a professional account. I don't know, do businesses need to change to a professional account, or the differences, or is this something that really they need to be worried about?
Yeah, and this is a really interesting feature. They initially rolled it out, I think it was just US, and then eventually it's global. Everyone should have the ability to do it. I have found it only really works to set up on mobile. I'm not able to access it on desktop currently. I know when Elon took over, they were trying to add all this new stuff. And so some of you might be able to get to it when you're on desktop. In your navigation, you click on more and you'll see this new link called professional tools. And this will also get you to your Twitter ads, by the way, if you are using Twitter ads, but it'll say professional home. And that link has not worked for me since they made this update. But I can go on my mobile Twitter app and do all of these different things under the professional account. Now, going from your current Twitter account to a professional account, I haven't seen any difference like, if you go set it up as a professional account, you'll get more followers or more engagement or more. That I haven't seen or heard about, but you have the ability to set up some really interesting features. So for instance, when you're on my profile, under my bio, it says social media influencer, and that is a category. So when you set this up, you can select a category that best fits who you are and what you do, whether it's you as a personal brand or you as a company. And then you also have some other interesting features in here. They have a thing called profile spotlights, and this is fairly new. You have the ability to have your location in here. So under your bio,
that. I'm just looking at yours. You
can have you can have a map. So if you have like a storefront, you can have like a map and hours of operation. You can have your phone number, your email. They also have a section called Shop Spotlight. So if you have products you sell, is very much like the Instagram. What do they call it? Instagram, like a shopping carousel or something. It's fairly new. I'm not sure if everybody has it right now, but I've seen it in action. They also have a section called Link Spotlight, where I've experimented with it before, where you can link to your podcast or link to your YouTube. And you may remember not too long ago, under our bios, we were using that newsletter integration, Twitter had bought this company called Review, which was a newsletter tool. We were able to have our newsletter. Elon got rid of it recently, but I was using it because how cool that people could join your newsletter from your Twitter profile. So it's really a place under your profile for you can only pick one. You can't have your location and a link. Like you just have to pick one of these items. But if it's something that sounds interesting, you want to learn more, I was just go into Google and type in Twitter professional accounts, and you'll be able to easily access all that information and go through it. But play around with it on mobile and see what
Test
all
it out, I suppose. As you said. Well, Madalyn, this has been another great show. I think we could talk for another 2 hours or
I'm
more.
sure we
Definitely.
could. I feel like I'm just getting going.
I know. Well, we might have to get you back on later
Part
on.
three?
Part three, because there's still so much to talk. I suppose
Yeah.
out of as a thank you to you and your time, where obviously it'd be Twitter, but where would you like people to go and learn more
Yeah,
about
for
you?
sure, Twitter at Madalyn Sklar, but also my website, MadalynSklar.com. And that's where you can access more information about me, have access to all my different articles. I put out weekly articles all about Twitter marketing, and where you can get information about my various podcasts, my Twitter spaces. I'm hosting 3 different Twitter spaces each week. So I'm always doing a lot of stuff, and you can get all that info on my website.
And go join you on Twitter Smarter every Thursday.
Absolutely. Hashtag Twitter Smarter Thursdays at 1:00 Eastern. And then we do part 2 in spaces at 5:00 Eastern every Thursday.
Geez, Philip would never get to bed.
That's kind of late for you guys. I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's recorded. So that's the beauty. They're all the spaces that I host are recorded. So if it doesn't work for somebody's their time, I'm really big with recording because I like to be able to repurpose. And actually, I get way more listeners on replays anyway.
Replays, yeah. There you go.
Well, there you go, everyone. Yeah. And hopefully we'll get a few more people coming to listen to you here on our podcast. You'll find it on Podbeam, iTunes, Spotify, and the Dublin South FM website. So go check that out. Exactly. And Philip, as they say, if video is your thing,
we're on the Let's Get Social Show YouTube channel. So you can head over to YouTube, hit subscribe, click the notification bell so that you won't miss any of our uploads and you won't miss any of the future videos that we upload for Let's Get Social.
Yeah, and do head over and send us maybe an old email, and we can send you over to Madalyn if you can't find her, but you will find her because she's everywhere. And maybe you'd want to have her back for part 3, as they say. So email us in and get it in paper, and then we'll definitely be able to prove to Madalyn people want to know more about Twitter.
Absolutely. So, Madalyn, thank you again for such an incredible 2 shows. And we hope everyone listening, and if you're watching this eventually on YouTube, that you enjoyed this. And definitely, if you want to learn about Twitter, Madalyn is the go-to place.
Number one.
Thank you all so much. I'm Philip. I really appreciate you both having me on. This was so much fun.
Great. And it was happy St. Patrick's Day last week.
Yeah, happy Nacho Day. Happy Nacho Day. Get some nachos and guacamole. So,
but anyway, thanks so much, Madalyn. And we'll come check out Twitter Smarter again. So thanks a lot, everyone. And we'll see you next week for more.
Bye-bye. Bye.